good, everybody, and welcome to Weekday Wagers. My name is Mark. So glad you could join us here on this amazing Tuesday. We got so much to get into. We got NHL Stanley Cup Final Game 6. We've got a full slate of baseball games, and we've got a ton of WNBA action going on today. You know I can't do this by myself. We got to bring in the one guy who knows hockey better than most. Robbie Hockey. Where you at, Rob? We got to get you on here, buddy. There we go. How you doing, bud?
Hey, man, I'm just happy to be here. I wish I could go home now and just get ready for the Stanley Cup Final. I'm more out for this than I have been in a while, and I don't even know why.
That's interesting because I know. So, for everybody out there, listen, we've already done a Game 6 NHL preview right here on Coach and Company. Go check it out. We've done really well with our betting throughout this series. Are you getting a little hockey fatigue? Is that what I'm hearing from you, Rob?
I think it's it. I think I know too that it could be the last game, and it's almost like the Super Bowl. When football ends, I kind of go through football depression. I can already feel the hockey depression coming on.
The letdown.
Football's not going to be here till August, so yeah, I think that's the reason why.
Gotcha. Yeah. It is that, I do want Florida to win the series. I'm kind of with you on that one. I'm not sure I want it to end here in Game 6, but I actually really do. Would I love another Game 7? Absolutely. I prefer to end it in 6. But listen, let's get into our watch list and find out what we are targeting today and why. We got the Houston Astros versus the Homewood Athletics. You had mentioned this game to me earlier this morning as one of the games you were interested in targeting. I'm kind of curious, what has your eye for this game?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. One, I think this game should be an easy over. It's 95 degrees, winds blowing out. You got two pitchers who give up runs like crazy, JP Sears especially. And then there's a guy named Jose Altuve that I love today. I wish I had played him yesterday. I thought about playing him yesterday because I thought JP Sears was pitching yesterday, and Altuve still went yard. So I love this game because I bet player props. So anytime I see a game where the runs are a galore, that's what I'm targeting.
Gotcha. And yeah, looking at what JP has done versus Houston, over his career, he's got just under 100 plate appearances against them, roughly a 5% strikeout rate. What has my eye on this, and you've already alluded to it, is the runs that this guy gives up with a expected WOBA. And, I know DG thinks a WOBA is something you curl up with at night, but no, this is the weighted on-base average for the opposing team. Fairly high, in the high 300s. So I kind of like this, especially playing in the Athletic Stadium, which is a minor league stadium, smaller dimensions, and they typically have the wind blowing straight out, which is always a hitter-friendly recipe for us. You mentioned JP Sears. Why don't we dive into this a little bit and see first of all, he's a left-handed pitcher. What has Houston done where did we go there, Rob? There we go.
There it is.
What's Houston done versus left-handed pitching this season? And I kind of like these numbers. I know what jumps off this for you?
For me is essentially the last game. He gave up 3 home runs the last time these two teams met. And it looks like a lot of green, a little bit of a Christmas feel, but more green than red. But I'm just really like how they hit him the last game. I'm just going to keep going with what works. I think they alluded to it today. I think Soupy was talking about the last time the Phillies played. Gosh, my mind's blanking now. Whoever they played last, and it was 7 earned runs. He gave up 3 home runs the last game, so that was all I needed to do to get into some player props.
Gotcha. And, here's what Houston has done against Sears. You talked about those just under 100 plate appearances. About 50-50 with the green and red here. Some decent numbers. Obviously, you've got Altuve and Yanir Diaz with some nice numbers. Not too big sample sizes from Victor or Cam Smith. But I do like what I'm seeing with Altuve, especially 9 hits, 2 home runs, 5 ribbies, only 2 strikeouts. A sub 10% strikeout rate. I like what I'm seeing there.
Same here. And like I said, yesterday, this was a target for me. And then last second, JP Sears wasn't pitching. So took a lot of my research from yesterday and just applied it to today. And like I said, Altuve went yard yesterday as well. So that's a good sign for me for today.
And here's a question for you. When you brought up doing your research, when you're looking at the sort of things, and I know obviously you got a guy who has had, like Altuve, 22 at bats, 9 hits, 2 home runs. Those numbers kind of jump out at you. But instead of not just targeting for a home run prop, but maybe like a hits run RBI or just a hit prop, what are some of the things that you're really trying to key in on?
A lot is a lot for baseball. That's why baseball is a lot harder than hockey and NFL. There's so many moving factors. What hand does the pitcher pitch with? What has he done in his last 10? Sometimes I'll go to last 20 games. Most of the time lately, I've been doing a lot of those 2-man hit parlays just because baseball's kind of been a roller coaster. Total bases has been a roller coaster, hits, runs, RBIs. So what I'm doing now is looking for guys who have hit at least 8 of their last 10 games. Then I'll go and see what they did against that pitcher. Guys who have like an 0-3, like they've only seen them once, I don't factor that in a lot. Then I try to look at for home runs, like their ISO, how hard they're hitting the ball. Like yesterday, the ball was hit 401 feet at 100+ miles an hour, and it still didn't go yard. So with the way the balls have been this season, you can't tell me there's some kind of discrepancy in the balls they're using this season compared to last year.
Well, and I do want to get into that. I do want to get into that with you in just one second, because I think that's a great segue into when you look at what how hitters have done against JP Sears in his spray chart. They hit him fairly evenly, fairly consistency, but you look to that left field and you see how deep those shots are. So when batters, especially right-handed batters, pull hitters, they can get it. If they get the bat on the ball, they are doing some damage with that. And I like this spot, especially when you look at, and I'll let you speak more to this, but there's Altuve's spray chart against JP Sears. And yeah, what is not to like about that?
Right. And like if you're looking at Altuve's hits, runs, and RBIs, one of the things I look at too is how many times did he do that over his last 10? And you'll see he just had 3 yesterday. Of course, he went yard. Prior to that, he was 3 out of his last 5, but he's kind of a streaky. So he'll go really hot for 3 or 4 games, and he'll go really cold for maybe 2 or 3 games. So that looking at his last 20, it's kind of what I'm seeing. Versus left-handed pitchers, the last 2 times he's faced a left-handed pitcher, he had 4 hits, runs, RBIs, and then the game prior to that, he had 10 hits, runs, and RBIs. So 14 in 2 games, that stood out to me as well. If you're into total bases versus left-handed pitchers, he's gone over this in 5 straight with 2 total bases, and like I said, 10 on May 27th versus the Athletics. Same thing we're seeing tonight.
I like it. Now, what's this? I won't be there. So the over is soaring. Right. You know what? And actually, Big Cheesy, thank you for that comment, because I was also on the over. Last night's matchup just screamed runs, and they end up producing a total of 4. Cheesy, I think you might be onto something, because I think we have a little bit more on Altuve coming up. But I do want to get into what you just said, Rob, about that baseball traveling so far with the exit velocity and still not even being a home run. I know DG brought it up earlier that the stitching on the ball, and I forget the player who had that information confirmed by a Major League Baseball office source, but that the stitching on the ball was different. That actually created more drag. So you're getting balls that are hit hard and with the same launch angles that you speak, Andrew McCutcheon. Thank you, DG. That where they're just not traveling as far due to the stitching and the extra drag that was put on the ball. Do you find the timing of that statement interesting? Well, first, let me ask you, are you a conspiracy theory guy?
I like to listen to conspiracy theories, and if it's got some legs to it, I'll listen. I do think this is one that I'm more on board with, thinking there might be something to it. And I think it may be after the torpedo bats were a huge thing. Remember how Aaron Judge was mashing them and they were hitting home runs left and right. Then all of a sudden they stopped. So I'm not sure if this was same balls that's been used since the beginning of the season, or if this is something that could have been used after the torpedo bat incident, I guess you should say.
Right. I also find it interesting that as you know, as that phenomena seemed to really catch and start to take off, it has died down very rapidly. And
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at this time last year, which it's kind of a weird summer. It doesn't even feel like summer in Tennessee. Every day it rains. So I don't know, but the weather all over the place isn't like Tennessee. It's still summer everywhere. So I know last June was my best month. I think I could pick 4 to 6 guys to hit a home run on a daily basis. At least one would hit, and most days 2 of those would hit. If you're betting home runs, that's a great profit. Lately, I could pick 6 guys, and they may not even get a hit lately. But it's just like I said last night. 400 feet, 100 plus miles an hour, that should be a home run in most parks.
you would think. You would think. That's why I am of the side of the conspiracy theory that thinks this is all planned by the MLB office. They are controlling the flight of the balls. They've done it before with the jack balls, the humidity control baseballs, especially when they play in Colorado. They treat those balls differently than any other place in the country, specifically for the altitude. I just think that this is by design. I do think we start to see home runs go up because they changed the stitching. They changed the dynamic of the baseball. I think this story doesn't get released and get put out in public unless there's already a plan on how to counterbalance it, and all of a sudden the runs start to show up. So
you think now too that it's about to be just baseball going on, that we probably start seeing a lot more home runs as well, and a lot of
I do. I think they have to find a way. You can't keep a fan base intrigued. And the flip side of that, you can't keep those damn home run odds so damn low if you're doing everything you can to the baseball to prevent a home run. So
that's the other thing. The odds are crazy
right
now.
So I think something's got to give, and I think MLB front office pulls those strings, no pun intended, and we start seeing balls take off the way that they should be. But listen,
I hope you're right.
Enough of conspiracy theories. Let's get into our plays. We got a hockey play for you. Like I said, get over there, check out the NHL Game 6 preview. You don't want to miss that one, but we got another one for you. What do you want, Rob?
Yeah, again, I'm going back to Carter Verhaeghe. It's a big-time game, big-time moments. Florida's at home. His point streak sadly ended the other night versus Edmonton, but prior to that, he had hit in 8 of his last 10 games. Look, Florida, like I said on the preview show, this is a Game 7 for them as well. Of course, it's a Game 7 for Edmonton, but I don't think Florida goes into this thinking, we can skip this one and go into Edmonton and win. I think they're going to control everything tonight. I was real weary of even putting in like Connor McDavid props because – last time they had this situation, Connor McDavid didn't have a point. He was shut down last year around this time. Barkov's points and Reinhardt's points are still too juice, but Verhaeghe's on that same top line with them. I love this spot for Verhaeghe just to get a point. I would even bet him to get a goal tonight. He's one of my favorites to score tonight.
I like it. I like that look a lot, actually. I am switching from the ice, and we are going to the W, where I am taking the Golden State Valkyries plus the 4 points. And I'm telling you what, I like the Valkyries to win outright at plus 150 as well. But I'll take the points as a little insurance. Golden State is one of the best teams in the WNBA at covering the spread. They are 7-3 this season, ATS, and they've covered in 3 of the last 4. They've won 3 straight, by the way. So I love this spot. They've covered in 3 of the last 4 on the road. More importantly, this is a Dallas team that absolutely sucks. The Valkyries, they're the expansion team. They're supposed to suck. They don't. Okay, they're 5-5. Dallas, the Wings have been clipped this season. The only thing they've got going for them is Paige buckets, and quite frankly, she's coming off concussion protocol. So I don't expect a whole lot from Dallas tonight. Give me the Valkyries plus the points at minus 110. I know you're a big WNBA guy, Rob.
Very much so. Very much so. Caitlin Clark's the best. No, but I do know that you had the Valkyries last week. Yeah. I think you had them at plus 6.5. Not only did that cash, but you said they would win outright, and they won outright. So anytime you mention the Valkyries, I have to listen a little bit because you clearly know what you're talking about again for them.
I've done it. And actually, the model has them winning outright in this one by 3 points. So I might even ladder a little alternative spread, if you will, for some bigger juice. Just a thought. Just a thought. It is that time, Rob. It is time for that Tuesday daily dinger. And look at that leaderboard. Look at that board. We got Aaron Judge at plus 190, Cal Raleigh at plus 260, Matt Olson at 470, Zach at 520, and your guy Jose Altuve at 525. Who are you going with and why?
I mean, I have to go with Jose Altuve. I've talked him up all game or all day. He has 2 home runs in his last 4 games. Great weather. JP Sears. I mean, he went yard on him, let's see, the last time, and that was like, what, less than about a month ago. I just see Jose Altuve going yard. Also, Cal Raleigh will probably go yard because I've been on him probably 5 of the last 7 days, and he hasn't done anything. So I'd expect him to go yard tonight as well. Also, if you watched yesterday, Max Kepler plus 725 went yard, and I put that in the chat. Cash that one.
You did. And I also, if you go back and watch the tape, I said if there is anybody qualified to give out a plus 750 home run prop off the board, it's Robbie Hockey. What happens? Boom. Cash it. I am torn. I look at Matt Olson's numbers in that plus 470, and you figure this guy's had 16 at-bats against David Peterson for the Mets. 16 at-bats, 4 home runs. I mean, it's hard not to love that. The thing that scares me about Matt Olson and basically Atlanta tonight is the weather. You know, they're calling for storms. I'm going to shy off this. If this game goes all the way through, I like Matt Olson to hit a home run. But I'm going to go chalk. Give me the Judge. Because it is time for all rise. Give me Aaron Judge to hit a home run. I just think that, especially playing in Yankee Stadium against the Angels, I'm trying to remember the Angels pitcher. The Angels pitcher is Hendricks. He's throwing batting practice, and Judge is not the guy to do that too. I think that, you know, like we saw last night when I picked Judge, he was walked, you know, so they are pitching around him. So I also like Ben Rice. Ben Rice to hit one. Goldschmidt is another one. I like to basically anybody in that Yankee lineup can go yard.
Stanton. Juan Carlos Stanton. He came back last night from injury, had 2 hits. I really thought he might have hit one last night. I like him. You can't walk everybody, so they're going to have to pitch to somebody. Right. But like DG said yesterday, Soriano and how many times he walks batters was the only reason why I didn't bet Judge yesterday, because that was the main reason, because he walks everybody, and I knew he wouldn't really want to pitch to Judge.
And I know, look, nothing makes me happier than when Joe doesn't make fun of the shirt that I'm wearing and he's on my side here. So yes, Joe, I appreciate it. Oh, DG's going a little. He's stealing your guy.
He went yard yesterday, Mr. Wood. I don't hate that either. He's got a good matchup tonight. Great weather. Luis Robert, I like that.
Okay, so Cheesy, just so you know, bud, love the fact that you're throwing in a daily dinger option. The idea is to pick one that's going to go yard, not to shotgun the league. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Although all 4 are really good, great looks. Max Muncy. I love Max Muncy. He has been dialed
which
in.
One? Which one?
For the Dodgers.
Okay.
The one that hits.
The one that hits. Yeah, I figured. Yeah, I agree with that.
Somebody has already been on the JustAStatSports.com website and saw the picks that have been put up for the day. I think that might be a play that's up there. Go over and check it out. Japan is on. Sam Bennett, first goal at plus 1,200. Robbie, what are your thoughts on the Bennett?
Well, I'll go ahead and give you behind the curtain. I have him as the first goal scorer at BetMGM, the second chance bet. So I am right there with you, Japan. I've got Sam Bennett, first goal scorer, plus 1,200. If you do it at MGM and he scores the second goal, you at least get your bet back.
There you go. There you go.
Love that.
So that is Robbie Hockey approved. Rob, besides the hockey game, let me just ask you this. With everything going on, what are you going to be watching tonight?
It's hockey. It's nothing but hockey. I'm going to be treating it like my Super Bowl tonight because I don't want to say who I think will win because I'll get it wrong. Edmonton will win tonight because if you know, I've gotten that wrong every time I've picked. So Edmonton will win tonight. But no, I'll be watching the hockey game. I'm pulling for Florida. If Brad Marchand gets the Conn Smythe, I will be debuting a Brad Marchand jersey on one of these shows because that'll be a plus 5,000 ticket that he cashed for me. So, yeah, I'm all on Florida. I hope Florida wins tonight. I'll pick Edmonton just because I suck at picking the winner in this.
Here's the $1 million question. There is a 20-minute intermission between the first and second and third period. What are you watching in those 20 minutes?
I will probably be getting my kids either ready for bed or reading to them. That's usually what I do in the 20-minute intermissions. Is trying to do the dad duties during that time. Gotcha.
Say Japan apparently he's on hockey and college baseball.
Yeah, shout out to Arkansas. The big no-hitter yesterday against Murray State, right up the road from Murray State's right up the road. Beautiful campus. But yeah, the no-hitter was pretty amazing yesterday.
That's incredible. Listen, I don't care at what level you're pitching, and especially in the College World Series to get a no-no is an absolutely amazing thing. I'm going to be right there with you, Robbie. I'm sure we'll be texting all night long about this hockey game and the things that are happening. Obviously, I got to keep an eye out on the Valkyries. So in between the intermissions, I will be bouncing back and forth between the W and obviously some late no-run first inning and yes-run first inning plays that I might have up on the site right now. So, yeah, I'm going to be all over the board. Thank God I have 3 TVs. But that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Tuesday afternoon. We really appreciate you. If you would, hit that like button, hit the subscribe. It helps us tremendously. Robbie and I will be back tomorrow with more of a Weekday Wager watch list breakdown. Until then, take care, be kind to one another, and let's cash these tickets.